Hi guys, Jim here today with another Sudoku video, again playing the collection brought to you by Cracking the Cryptic. They are a couple of YouTubers, go check them out, link in the description, very worth it. They solve much harder puzzles than me, they solve them better than me, they're very entertaining, and they've also put out a series of collections of variants on Sudoku. So we're playing a classic Sudoku today, so that'll just be the usual Sudoku that you know and love. But there are a bunch of different other options out there which are fascinating and make for really interesting puzzles. So that's my pitch for them. Go check them out. I finally got my hair cut, and also a couple of weeks ago now, someone commented, thank you very much for this comment, I'm really grateful for any feedback at all, that the audio mix was slightly off. So hopefully I've done a better job. Please let me know if it's still not quite holding up. And I'll tweak it again. Unfortunately, I do tend to make these videos in a batch, which you might be able to tell if you've watched more than one. They look very similar. I'm wearing the same clothes, and I'm not a total slob. So anyway, with that all said, let's jump into the puzzle. As I said, today we're playing one of the classic Sudokus from the classic pack. We've beaten 4 levels so far, and that's given us enough stars to try puzzle number 46, which is the next in the difficulty order. So a 2-star puzzle, so let's see how we get on. What I found with this collection is that the later puzzles that they released were harder than the original set. So when this claims to be a 2-star, I think this is likely to be harder than the other 2-stars that were released earlier. Don't know if that was a deliberate choice by them, but it is a bit jarring, and well, I say jarring, it's just a little bit of a difficulty spike, and then it comes back down. But anyway, right, so what Sudoku? How do you play Sudoku? Well, I'm pretty sure most of you will know, but every box, every row, and every column must have the digits 1 through 9. And because there are 9 boxes, they can only have them exactly once. And that's it. And so you use logic to kind of rule certain numbers out of certain cells. Right, so let's go. Now usually I would start with 1s and look around, but I don't think we've got much to say about 1s, or indeed 2s really. We've got a few 2s, haven't we? In fact, we can place a 2. Sorry, I was talking nonsense. So we can place a 2 up there, and what that does is that leaves 2 is only available in these 2 cells in this box, which I like to denote with little pencil marks in the corner, which can be useful later on. There's a 2 there as well. Look at this. 2s have been fantastic. I was being harsh on 2s, because now look, in this middle box, these 2s in the 2 rows rule out all of these cells, and this 2 rules out this cell. So in fact, a 2 can only go there, and therefore a 2 can go there by the earlier pencil marks we did. So 2s are now done. I've literally done all the 2s after maligning them so unfairly. So this is an interesting use. So if you recall when I was talking about placing pencil marks in a box with only 2 possible cells for a digit, well, in this box we can see that this 3 is ruling out 3 here, and this 3 is ruling out 3s here. So you have to put 3 in one of these 2. Now that's really powerful, because that effectively acts as a virtual 3 in the row. And so whichever one of these cells is the 3 eventually, when we figure it out, we know that there can't be any more 3s in this row. And that actually helps act on this box over on the right. And so if we think about this virtual 3, this 3 here, that rules out the 3 from here, and then the top 3 up there rules out the 3 from there. So we can put a 3 in one of those 2. So that logic wouldn't really have been available to us unless we'd done this pencil marking. I mean, obviously you don't need the pencil marking to see the logic, but anyway. So hopefully that's helpful. 3s are limited to 2 cells here by the 3s up here and here. What else are we saying on 3s? So we've got 3s down here. Hello, yes. And then this is an even more powerful example, because in this box now we've got 3s ruled out from these cells, and we've got a 3 up the top ruling that one out. So that must be the 3, and therefore that sorts out the pencil mark we just made in that box, which is useful. And then in the last box we haven't pencil marked, 3s can go there. So actually 3s were very productive as well. 4 is actually given in this box, ruled out by the 2 4s that we had. And down here 4s must go in this pair of cells. What are we saying? Yes, so in here we know a 4 is in one of these 2, and again we can use that virtual 4 paired up with this one to rule out 4s in this box, therefore leaving us with only 1 cell available for a 4. Similarly, we can pencil mark we can pencil mark 4s in 2 cells there. What else have we got going on? That might be it for now. Okay, let's move on to 5s, because I like to count up in order, because I am a simple man with a simple brain. Right, so 5s in this box. Okay, so this is really interesting. So the 5s that are given in the grid rule out 5s except in here. Now, because we have this sort of pairing up, what we actually know is that not only are there 4s and 5s in these 2 cells, but there can only be a 4 and a 5 in these 2 cells. And the logic behind that is, well, we know one of these is a 4, so let's say it's that one. Well, then that one will have to be a 5, because we know that one of these is also a 5, and then similar round. So actually, what I prefer to do now is clear those out, and then I replace them with middle pencil marks, which basically denote that in these cells only these digits are allowed. And this is really powerful, because now nothing else can go in those cells. So we actually know in this box that the digits 1, 3, let's put them like this, 1, 3 and 5 are missing, not 5, sorry, 1, 3 and 9 are missing. So they can be pencil marked in there, and in fact that 3 is obviously ruling that out. We have a similar thing going on with this row actually, so just before we go back to 5s, let's see what's missing in this row. We've got a 1 and a 9 and a 5 indeed, which makes sense. And yes, so 1 is ruling that out as well, so that's useful. So in this row we know there's 3 missing digits, and we know roughly where they go. Still a bit of work to be done yet. Okay, so we were on 5s, weren't we? So let's carry on. Yes, so 5s are limited over in this cell, in this box, to 1 cell, which is nice. Okay, I think that might be it on 5s. What about 6s? 6s are given in this box, which is useful. Down here, 6 can only be in 1 of 2 cells. 6 can only be in 1 or 2 cells here. And look, and this is why pencil marking your 3s earlier was also really helpful, because now I've got this, again, same logic as before, joined up pencil marks for 3s and 6s. So these can only be a 3 and a 6. So that rules out anything else from these 2 cells, which is, of course, very useful. Can we do anything else on 6s though? Well, actually, the pencil marks there have given us further pencil marks in this box. That might be it for now. Let's jump on to 7s. What are 7s saying? Aha! 7 is given in that box, which is nice. 7 in this box is also given because of the 2 7s in the rows. So that's good. 7s are limited to 2 cells there, so let's stick in some pencil marks. And 7s are limited to 2 cells here. So we're not going to be able to disambiguate the 7s just yet, because you've got this little X-wing thing going on there. We'll leave that for now. Okay, then what are we saying about 8s? Well, look here, we've got yet again, we've got the power of pairs, if you like. So 8s are limited in this box, which again means that actually 7 and 8 are the only things that can be going in that box, and that gives us the trio then of 1, 5, 9 missing from here, and there's in fact a 9 over there. So in fact this is a 1 or a 5. Just while I'm here, I've noticed this column is also nearly done, so that's also 1, 5, 9. So this column is missing 3, as is this row, 1, 5, 9, 1, 5, 9, and this box. So yeah, 1, 5, 9s are quite powerful up here, aren't they? Well, I say powerful, they're sort of powerful is not the word. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, so sorry, where was I? Were we on 7 there? 7s are done, and then we were on 8, weren't we? Right, so 8s. So 8s are down here, and they link up with the 6. So the 6 and the 8s must go in this box, in these 2 cells. This then completes the column with a 5, 9, which pairs up with that one up there, so that makes sense. What about this? So we're missing 4 and 9 from this box. Can't do anything about that just yet, but that's alright. Did 8s have any more secrets to reveal? Yes, 8s are pencil marked in there, which means they're pencil marked in here, which makes sense if you look at this column. There's only space for them in there. Okay, so this is powerful. So we know the 8s are in these 2 places in these columns. And what that's formed is it's known as an X-wing. And the reason it's known as X-wing, if you think you can draw like a line from that cell to that cell and from that cell to that cell, forms an X. And the reason this is powerful, the logic for both of these 8s, or all 4 of these 8s I suppose, was from the columns. But actually this plays into the rows now, because if I want it, so if I put an 8 here, say, of these two 8s, I put the 8 here. Well, if I go over to this pair of 8s, that means that must be the 8. Or I could put the 8 here, and then that must be the 8. But in either case, either you're getting 8s there, or you're getting 8s there. And in either case, there's no more 8s available in these rows. So in this box, importantly, these 3 cells are ruled out from being 8s, because you can't put more than 2 8s in these 2 rows. So 8s, long way round, long way of saying 8s are pencil marked in those 2 in that box. And then finally 9s. Yeah, I was a bit worried about this because 9s don't give us anything, and I must say we've still got a fair amount of grid left to populate. Well, I can complete this box with a 1 9. Let's just, what are we missing in here? It's 8s and 3, 1 3 8 9, 1 3 8 9. We know that 3 can't go there. Might be about it actually, so that's not very powerful. What about here? So what I do now, when I get sort of to this situation, I think, okay, well, where are my weak rows and columns? And by weak, I mean sort of having 4 or fewer cells remaining to be populated. So we know that in these 4, we've got 7, 3, 1, and 8 to go in, like that. Although that hasn't really helped either, I don't think. Okay, so keep going. Maybe we swing back round the logic tree now. So, have 1s spilled any beans? Ah, no, actually 1s have spilled some beans. So, if you look in this box here, where can 1 go? Well, 1 can only go in one of these 2 places. So this acts as a virtual 1 in that column. And so that can't be a 1. And that can't be a 1 because of the 1 in this column. So happy days, we actually know that that's a 1. Now, is that helpful? That's a 5-9 pair, so not particularly. But it's still better than nothing. Okay, so 1s, we've got a bit more than I thought, which is useful. Right, 2s, we finished 2s, sorry, excuse me. What about 3s? Yes, so again, because we were, if you recall, we had 3s limited to these 3. I should have spotted this earlier, actually. So we had 3s limited to these 3. So now that this is a 4-5 pair, 3s are now locked in these 2 cells in this box. And what that does is that virtually plays over to this cell and rules out 3 from there. But because we've got a corner pencil mark for a 3 there, we know that there's another corner pencil mark in there somewhere, and therefore that is the only option for a 3 in that box. That gives us this 3-6 pair sorted out, and maybe we don't need to be too scared of this puzzle anymore, because I think that has sort of ruptured it. So the 6 is now given to us in this box, and then over on the right hand side it's given to us there, and finally here, and finally, sorry, I just jumped the gun, there's the last 6. So suddenly 6s are done from nowhere. Boom, fantastic. That gives us an 8 in this box. Oh yeah, 6 and 8 were a pair down here, so once we put the 6 we had the 8 available as well. 8's in this box by these 2 up here, it's limited to that. So that's really useful because that could have been a 1, 3, 8 or 9. So the fact that we're able to rule out the others from there straight away is really powerful. And it is really powerful, in fact. So first we have a 3 from the pencil mark. So that 3's done. And then second, now there's 2 ways to see this. Obviously, the easier way is to say, well, look, we've only got 1 3 left in the grid, it must go here. But there's another bit of logic available which might be useful at another point. So in this column we have a 1 9 pair here, and what that means, again, it's the same discourse as before. They have to be a 1 9, so nothing else can be a 1 9 in that column, and therefore this 1 3 or 9 can only be a 3. So there's 2 ways we can rule that out as being a 3, and all the 3s are done. Fantastic. So what about 4s? Nothing quite sorted on 4s. not just yet. 5s. So this 4-5 pair, actually, I should have seen this again. So this is 4-5 pair, so that can't be a 5. So that is in fact a 1, which is nice. Okay, and where does 1 go in this box? Well, it can only go in one of 2 cells here, which means that can't be a 1. So that's a 9, and that's a 1. Suddenly 1s are coming to the fore, despite the fact that we had very few of them earlier. That's a 9 to complete the column. 9s are limited in this box to these 2 cells. Okay, so we've got the same sort of thing going on here. This is a sort of extended X-wing, if you like. So in these 2 rows, we've already got 2 9s. Because a 9 is either here and therefore here, or it's here and therefore here. So in this box, these 2 cells can't be a 9. That puts a 9 here, which in fact is... this cell can't be a 9 by that one. So this is a 9-4 pair. All of a sudden, we're still finding pairs, even at this late stage in this puzzle, which is nice. This can only be a 1 or an 8 because of the column is missing only 2 cells. That 8 there sorts that out, so that is a 1. That gives that as a 1, that as a 9. That 1 down there gave this as the 8 we were literally just talking about. That sorts out a 7 and a 1 and a 7 and an 8 and a 5, and this is really why you pencil mark, because then the end of the puzzle just becomes join the dots, which is very nice. 9 and 5. What are we missing from here? We're missing a 1, which goes there, and a 4, and then up here that sorts out this 5-4 pair, which is one of the very first things we found. That's a 9, that's a 4 by my pencil marks. This is a 5 to complete the box. That puts a 5 into one of these 2, which is this one. This is missing an 8, which gives us the final 8 down here. What is this row missing? This row is missing a 9, I believe. That sorts out the 9-4 pair up here, and then we are finally just missing a 1 and a 4 to complete the grid. So actually, I think there was a bit of difficulty there. So I think if I hadn't spotted one of the eliminations after I'd been round 1 through 9 once. There were some eliminations I could have missed, and then I'd have been stuck. But thankfully I spotted them, so it wasn't too bad. So yeah, that was really good. Really enjoyed that puzzle. 15 minutes, about average. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have been, hope you take on the puzzle yourself. As I say, can't recommend them strongly enough. The logic is very beautiful. They're all handcrafted with hints as well. Haven't had to use any yet, but I will. Don't you worry. Yeah, strongly recommend. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If I could find my stop recording button. Cheers.